Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for an exciting panel discussion on transforming professional development and lifelong learning. Let's welcome our panelists. First, Mr. Tom Auger, Senior Software Engineer at Tumo Center for Creative Technologies. Mr. Tak Lo, Author, Advisor to Governments, Companies, and Leaders. Mr. Sargis Karapetyan, CEO at Union of Advanced Technology Enterprises. Mr. Ruben Hairapetyan, co-founder and CEO at Matena. Ms. Susanna Shamakyan, VP at FAST Foundation. And Mr. Haik Harutyunyan, CEO at Tep Helen Group.
So my name is Bear Jaivazian. And unlike the other moderators, I'm going to stay down here with you. So is that all right?
Who's going to be with us?
So one of our panel members has disappeared. I think he was kidnapped, taken to Baku. But fortunately, the jail is full. So they can't keep him very long. He's on his way? All right. Maybe they have a shuttle. Oh, there he is. How's the weather in Baku?
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Is everybody waiting for me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Sorry to keep everybody.
Okay. So we have a difficult topic to discuss. Putting AI not in the hands of the elite, not in the hands of the big companies to control us, but instead to democratize AI and make it possible for all of us to enjoy the benefits of AI, and not just AI, but the information associated with it. By the way, this guys, one by one, you can introduce yourselves and tell us how you're an expert on this topic. The topic is AI in action, lifelong learning, transcending professional development for AI universal access. So starting here, give your little bit short bio and how you're an expert on this topic.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yeah. My main area of expertise is energy and education. I own and run renewable energy companies in 3 countries. We build, operate, and own solar power plants, and we have done extensive work in incorporating AI into our everyday operation. My family has founded one of the best private schools in Armenia, so I've been in education business for 18 years now, and for the last couple of years we've been doing our best to implement AI practices into our school curricula and help our teachers to utilize the new technologies. So I don't know if that makes me an expert, but I have some information that I would like to share today. Thank you.
I hope so. And how is the tuition for your school?
I think it's bearable.
Bearable?
Yes.
And you give everyone a scholarship?
We give those who are in need of scholarship and have excellence in the study. Yes, we do have scholarship programs. Perfect. We have 600 students, and there is a big waiting list, so I hope it's bearable, yes.
Okay, great. And of course, Susanna is from FAST, and she is now no longer vice president. You're the chairman of the board.
No.
What are you now?
The executive director.
Oh, executive director. Okay, now we got it straight. Susanna, stand up. You can't sit down. Yeah, stand up.
You want me to stand up?
Because tell us, what is FAST doing to make AI available everywhere and to train and give everybody ways of accessing AI? Go ahead.
So I represent FAST Foundations, and we have been in AI since 2017. We did a lot of boot camps for students from DigiTec people, from the military, Unit 1991, you might have heard. And one of the things we have encountered is that we have an issue coming from school. So the pipeline of the students isn't good. As much as we think that math education in Armenia is good, it's not good on the public school level. So we decided to collaborate with the ministry and do something more scalable. And we're doing a program, Generation AI, which is basically providing access to competitive math and AI education in public schools starting from high school. We do this as a pilot now in 15 schools, planning to scale with the ministry to 45 schools.
Terrific.
May I be dismissed?
You please. You can sit down. Now it's his turn to stand up.
So I represent the business school in Armenia called Matena. And Matena, by the way, is the academic partner of WCIT. That's why we have lots of Matenians here. That's why you heard a wave of applause. This was because of these partnerships. And I'm very, very honored to have all the alumni and the experts, professors sitting here in the audience. So Matena, why the question is connected to AI and why I'm here representing our school as a panelist, because we are extensively embedding AI tools and technologies into the education, executive education. For example, we have developed strategy simulation exercise called Stratena. Stratena is a blend of strategy with Matena. And it's called Stratena GPT. It's aimed at developing, crafting a business strategy with the use of personalized, pre-trained AI assistant. So this is something that is in the core of our business school strategy to bring the AI, the capabilities into action, and how it is connected, because you asked that specific question. Our panel is entitled now as Lifelong Learning and Professional Development, and our school name is Matena School of Leadership and Professional Development. So it's, it's about our school. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Okay, Sarkis.
I'm Sarkis. Unfortunately, my team is not here. I'll ask Matenians to give me, support me as strategic partners. Thank you, thank you. So I'm a tech entrepreneur, grew up my dad's hardware lab. My first toys were soldering station, PCBs, and so on. Eventually became an engineer, then tech entrepreneur. Recently, 2 years ago, joined Union of Advanced Technology Enterprises. We do a lot. So we are 200 tech companies united in for one mission and vision to make Armenia the most efficient country in the world and put on the technology map. And we do, why I'm here today, because we are also leading the biggest STEM education project in Armenia called ARMAD, where we have 630, in 630 schools, we have STEM education program where we teach from basics of software to robotics, including everything, the 3D modeling, operating on the machines, and so on. And we are now, we are collaborating with the Education Ministry, and now we are on a mission to collaborate with FAST as well to see. So we are basically creating the background for everybody to stand on and grow different directions. So we are giving the general. So the kids, when they go to Generation AI, they have at least the basic level of math and computer science so they can dive deep into AI.
So the age of your students is what?
Actually, with all programs, we are covering all. But the ARMAT main students are from 10 to 15.
Okay.
Though there are programs like UAV programs, electronic programs that are limited to not all schools, but it allows from 15 to 18 to join as well, but mainly 10 to 15.
Okay, I'll ask you more questions in a minute.
Okay.
As you can see, we have 6 panel members, so it's a long panel just to introduce them. Tak, go ahead.
I'm going to try to keep it short.
We waited a long time for you, so go ahead.
Yeah, I got to make it count. So again, apologies for being slightly late. I blame Sean Hovanian for keeping me over. He was feeding me drinks. So I'm Tak Lo. I flew in from Hong Kong to be here. Again, I'm very honored to be here. A couple things. I think the topic of this talk is AI access for all. So what are some of the things I've done in AI? I ran an accelerator fund, so it's an early stage venture capital fund called Zeroth about 10 years ago, focused on AI, and we invested in 60 companies all across the world, mostly from Asia. So I was investing in AI long before I think it became popular. So some of the companies were invested by Sequoia, Horizons, which is a big fund in Hong Kong, Korean Development Bank. So very proud of those companies. I run a AI newsletter called The Automated and a AI show. We have 16,000 subscribers, and there we try to talk about AI companies, AI news, and try to educate people about AI. I'm proud to say that I'm working with Yervan from Granitos Ventures on a business course at AUA, and we're going to integrate a lot of AI into that, which essentially means know how to work with ChatGPT and prompt engineer that. And my formal title is I am the CEO of a fertility startup called fertility.ai. And so I write a lot about basically the zero fertility future, and which is in about 2 generations, we will have more deaths than births. And which is, 2 generations is really not that much time. And so I do a lot of education on thinking about how AI can enable fertility and how we need to enable more people to learn AI, because ultimately there's 2 kind of growth levers to GDP, right? There's number of people and productivity. And if you have less people overall, you need higher productivity per person. And the only kind of way you can do that is through AI.
So you told me you have AI-enabled sperm. Is that correct?
Yes. Every sperm is sacred.
Perfect.
Make sperm great again.
Our last speaker.
So hello, my name is Tom. I'm actually from the UK, but I'm now working at the TUMO Center for Creative Technologies here in Armenia. So my background is in AI and cybersecurity. And the way I got introduced to TUMO and Armenia was to come here to teach learning labs about generative AI. And after doing that many times, I really wanted to contribute to TUMO's mission. And TUMO, for those who don't know, is a free learning program for teens that teaches skills from technology and design. And the overarching goal of TUMO is to educate the young people of Armenia, to train the next generation of Armenians who are going to contribute to the economy and to their future. So right now, because of AI and because of its potential, I'm now leading the team that is integrating AI into everywhere within TUMO. And yeah, that's the subject of this talk.
Tom, since you're standing up, I'm going to ask you the first question.
Oh, okay.
Is that all right?
Go for it.
Okay, cool. As you know, my background with TUMO goes before there was a building, and it was just an idea. But at that time, there was no knowledge of AI. We had no inclination to incorporate AI into the TUMO program. But now you're leading the team that's given that responsibility. Am I correct?
That's correct, yeah.
All right. So Pegor told me you have a secret how you're going to do it. Tell me what it is.
Well, we want to introduce AI into 2 main areas. The first is teaching, and the other is what students are interacting with. So let's take teaching first. Our tutors, they're not always experts in the areas that they teach. We try to train them as best we can. But when they're teaching a lab, there will be questions from students that they don't know the answer to. And previously, this would just be a roadblock. The student would not get an answer. It would be dissatisfying. Equally, teachers have to prepare a lot of materials. Because technology is changing so rapidly, it's very difficult to keep up with the pace of what should we teach students now? What skills are they going to need for the future? So our tutors can use AI to help them prepare the materials that they need to teach the skills that will help our students get good careers, have the futures that they want. From the students' perspective, at TUMO we have 14 skill areas, and the way students approach TUMO, they have to choose which areas they're most interested in and try and find a path, build their learning path. And at this moment, there's so many combinations, there's so many possibilities that students don't know exactly what they should be doing. They don't know what are the best skills, the best workshops, the best activities, the best resources that they should use. And this is where AI can help us. AI can help us build a learning path that allows students to describe maybe things that they might be interested in, the kinds of topics that they would like to work on. And AI has knowledge of all of the possibilities out there and can say, well, maybe you'll be interested in doing this. Maybe you should try this first. And this is where we see the best potential. This is the secret that we're currently working on.
Sounds great. Actually, I'm very pleased because you have young people at TUMO who don't really know what they want to study, right?
Exactly.
So this helps guide them through the process.
Exactly.
Okay. Sarkis, I'm going to switch to you. In the RMath program, you're in 600 schools, and you're in various age groups, so you're primarily STEM-oriented. You're doing the basics, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
And where does AI fit into this curriculum?
Actually, there are two parts. When we talk about like teaching AI, we should differentiate between teaching to use AI, which is a must skill that everybody should learn, independent of which profession you want to choose. You ask, like, are you using internet or are you using Google? Though I wouldn't say we have done great job in general in our country teaching people how to use Google. Now we need to do a lot to teach people prompt engineering, so they can utilize ChatGPTs, Clouds, and all of that is coming at us. So in RMath, we are more focusing on people selecting the kids that are potential creators of the next AIs, not the users, but the creators. So here, at age 10 to 15, the only thing is that we make sure that they fell in love with math and physics, so we can pass them into Gen AI, then so they can go deep into building AI, learning how to build AI. So if you ask any AI specialist or professor, what are the needs, so how you go about AI to build new AI, not use AI. It's math, so you start with math. So in RMath, we do like project-based learning. We have them do real projects, integrate some AI components to it, like voice recognition and so on and so on. Though they don't understand how it actions, but it like initiates the interest, and we are able to select those who are ready to go dive deep. So we do competitions, we do whatever program we do arm robotics. By the way, you're all invited in November this year. So you will see that they are integrating AI at this point as users of AI, but just to know there is this direction as well, and they are able to see what it can do in real life. But in general, we are encouraging them to go deep and become the next generation of AI creators.
Perfect. So you see this will help them in their future life to get jobs, to become the advanced AI developers?
Actually, we don't that much care about jobs. So we make sure they see problems, especially problems around them in their community. They are competent to define the problem, the right problem, and then we give them skills to be capable to solve these problems. The rest, they will do their own.
They'll be trained.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Susanna, I'm very happy to hear from Sarkis that his programs are a feeder into Generation AI. Does that mean you're coordinating with RMath to make sure the connection is made close?
The short answer is yes. I think we're talking with UAT to understand how we better synergize the programs, but one of the reasons we did the program starting from high school, not middle school, was because there is a lot going on through RMAT at the middle school, and then the pipeline is broken. So in high school, then there are only few private and few public schools where you can get really good math education. And the rest of the public, especially in the MARSes, and most of our program, just like RMAT is in the MARSes, do not get access to good math education and computer science education later on. So yes, we do coordinate, and that's why we are not in the middle school. One of the things we will be trying to do through RMAT as well is potentially increase the AI literacy and their understanding of what is coming next if they would be interested in it, but we do not plan to do anything academic on middle school at the moment. Is that the question you were asking?
Yeah, that's definitely the question I'm asking. By the way, unlike previous panels, we're going to ask the audience to create some questions. So whoever has the best question will give it to ChatGPT, and it will be used universally throughout Armenia as part of these programs.
Yeah.
So please start thinking about your questions right now.
I think, Perch, if you will allow me one interesting thing.
Please.
There's a lot of hype around AI and AI education and the potential it has in the space of education, but most people think about AI literacy and not actual AI education. Right. So we just came back from the UNESCO's Digital Learning Week, where they announced their second AI framework for students. And before, for 3 years, they were talking about only literacy and trying to help countries to do only literacy, which obviously isn't enough. And they now realize that it is not enough, and they just published a framework. And when they have learned that Armenia is doing already a program for AI innovators, as we call them, they are now planning to come and do a case study on what the ministry is doing through Generation AI and through us. And potentially these types of things will help Armenia be placed on that map for other countries and learn from Armenia how to do these things in their public sectors already.
Great. So far we've covered early education, middle school, high school, TUMO after school, right? Has anybody started before school? No? I know my 3-year-old grandson wants to learn AI. Is it time?
Bert, if I may, we at UAT, we believe that anything before 10 years, it's not, so we are not promoting kids before 10 to engage with any technology. If you want to do something, it might be like some games that are teaching some algorithmic thinking, but they have to do something physical. And the word in Armenian, we say masna gitutun, which means masnavor. It means like very narrow knowledge. But before 10 years, we want kids to explore the world, and it's not time for them to get into any specific niche, being that technology or whatever. So they need to learn how to interact with the world, sing, read, and so on and so forth. Then it's time to gradually, I know it's like, there is a tension. Some kindergartens are coming to us and telling us, asking us to have RMAT in the kindergarten, and they say parents are asking for that. And I want to use this stage to tell those parents, don't do it, please.
Okay, did you hear that? Don't do it, please. Okay, Ruben, I know you're in running a business school. So how does your programs incorporate AI to train the next generation of business leaders?
Yeah, thank you. We have a professor of negotiation in the audience right now, Dr. Arvid Bill. And when I was preparing for this panel and I said that I don't have any predefined questions, he came up with a suggestion, irrespective of what the moderator has always answer. It's an interesting question, but what I really think is, and then continue with your story. So I'm going to start with my story, but quite interestingly, it also correlates greatly with your question. So what we effectively doing, we try to first understand that this hype cannot be perceived as something only practical. We need to synthesize, conceptualize of what is happening. And what is effectively happening in this field is that, I'm not sure whether you have wondered about this, but only a couple of years ago, the only chance of having an assistant was to have a leadership role somewhere. But right now, everyone, through AI platforms and technologies, can have an assistant for kitchen, for finance, for legal. It's very easy to have just a subscription for ChatGPT Plus and then upgrade it and then create a customized GPT for specific purposes. And please follow this logic. If everyone has an assistant, that means that everyone needs to lead those assistants, meaning that every job in the future is going to be, to an extent, a leadership job, which means that the more AI develops, the more functions it takeovers from human beings, the more space is freed up for human leadership. And this is quite important for us, and that is why we started the application of AI-based technologies into our strategy lessons, leadership lessons, and we have also professors right now present in the audience from the AI field who are responsible for those modules. And I was talking about Stratena GPT exercise, quite interesting, because at Matena platform, at Matena, at our business school, we have already crafted more than 40 real business strategies for companies that those leaders, participants are representing. And this is a huge, huge impact for us because, you know, when we are talking about AI, of course, we want to emphasize that this is always about the effective combination between AI and human. So AI is never going to overtake the role of leadership. And what is Stratena about is effectively a customized GTP at the ChatGPT platform. When you equip the GPT with knowledge, with instructions, with capabilities, and this is kind of revolutionizing the teaching, learning, and assessment processes. Because, you know, a week ago we were in Innsbruck with my colleague Tigran Natsakayan, academic director, and we were discussing 3 days how AI is revolutionizing the education. 3 days about AI in education, and there were lots of, you know, apocalyptic claims by professors. One of them was saying that I'm going to be completely replaced by AI. The other one was saying, no, professor, teacher is such a, you know, high caliber job that AI is never going to overtake this job. But the reality is, as always it is in the middle, because the nature of professors, teachers' job is changing. Because instead of transferring the knowledge, which was before the creation of these technologies, professors would be leading knowledge transferring systems. Doctors, instead of diagnosing, they would be leading diagnosing systems. So this is what we are clearly seeing that is happening in the world. And because we want to prepare professionals, and because we're a school of leadership and professional development, we try to get the best use of AI so that in the future we'll not end up with a situation where everyone will be replaced with AI. But of course, this is something that puts more and more emphasis and attention on leadership.
But of course, there is some paranoia that AI will reduce the workforce and change the nature of people's work. So, Tak, what is your input on this?
Yeah, it was, you know, very interesting points. So it was this conversation. I think Sargas, I think you made a point about the human kind of role into this, and I believe the gentleman that founded, I think, Moderna, and I believe that Flagship Ventures is also one that's kind of, don't forget about the human agency in all of it. And it kind of makes me think, so I've been in AI for the last 10 years, right? So, you know, back then that was the first wave. And so even I wrote articles about, is it taking over our jobs? And I wrote kind of parallels to the Industrial Revolution and how Industrial Revolution, yes, in some ways it did take jobs away, but also there was a net job creation, a new job creation, right? And so ultimately I was kind of thinking about that, the question over and over. And I think what AI forces, because it's so powerful, it forces us to question our own very humanity. What is our skills? What can we offer as humans, to vis-a-vis kind of this type of power? So I wrote a book called I, Leader, and it's leadership in the age of AI. And I think ultimately, really, we should never let AI take over and say, well, we give all the responsibility to AI. Medical decisions, we'll give it to the AI and have that take culpability and responsibility. We are ultimately still responsible. We are ultimately still humans. And so in my book, what I said was in this kind of role of AI in leadership, we have to embrace what it means to be human to lead. And so a couple quick things. I mean, oftentimes there's this unrealistic kind of image of what leadership is. You have to be perfect, you have to be optimized, your schedule has to be great, you have this be pinnacle of leadership and living this unflawed kind of role. But what I'm trying to say and advocate for in leadership in the age of AI is flaws are what makes us human. Flaws are what makes us characters. And that is actually what is needed, and we should celebrate that in this new kind of leadership in the age of AI. If we wanted unflawed and perfect leadership, yeah, we'll give it to the AI, but ultimately AI can't lead us. And we are led by humans, and we are flawed, we make mistakes. But that's what makes us authentic, and that's what makes us humans, and that's ultimately what people will follow. Those are the leaders that we need, despite the flaws and despite the non-perfection. Yeah.
So, Haig, I know you're involved in the education system. You have experience with schools. But beyond that, you're in the energy sector. And I want you to somehow come up with how AI, energy, and education relate to each other. Because one of the challenges we have is that people don't learn very much about energy in their education programs. But energy is probably the most important thing for the future. So tell us a bit more about how you integrate AI, energy, and into education.
Thank you. Just today before the panel, I was speaking to an acquaintance who is in Polytechnic University, and he's leading the Energy Institute there. And we're talking about what's needed now in the energy sector, what kind of professionals are needed, what they teach in the university, whether it's demanded skill right now in the market. And it was a very interesting discussion, and I had another very interesting discussion a couple of days ago where my partners and I are starting a new company. It's called RX AI, which is an AI-powered ERP system for solar power plants. And my partner jokingly said that it's 3 founders plus Sam Altman, because we use ChatGPT in everything, starting from research to basic analysis, presentation, pitch deck. So Sam Altman has become the founder in every startup now.
By the way, he told me he wants his shares.
Yeah, well, he's getting some now, and I think he's becoming more business-oriented.
Okay, very good.
So linking this to discussions, I think there's so much tasks that are automated already that I think education in energy, especially higher education, should focus more on more specialized, more high-skill, deeper level analysis of issues and challenges that energy sector faces now. When you talk about AI and energy, most of the topics are around demand management, demand-side management. So basically in the grid infrastructure. So behind the meter, systems, but AI is applicable everywhere. You will be surprised to find out how low-tech sustainable energy is, actually. And there are many issues, many causes for that, but there is so much potential to increase efficiency in energy, and that potential can be unlocked now very easily through AI. But if you don't mind, I'd like to address a very important part of the educational system, the core part, which are teachers, which we haven't addressed, talking about AI in education, because my understanding is that the first audience for us should be teachers. If we want to have our kids use AI in a more constructive manner, I think we should first talk with teachers. I think we should first train the teachers. At our school, for example, some of our teachers use AI extensively. We have, for example, school AI that automates class planning, grading, attendance tracking, DFID, which helps to create more personalized content for the kids. You know, Visme, that helps to create a very engaging presentation. Grammarly, which gives you live feedback on the grammar. But one interesting thing is that I asked before our panel, the only teachers that use AI are English teachers, English language teachers at our school, which actually is a very good indicator of one of the barriers of this behind the cause of lack of spreading of this technology, which is the language barrier. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs here, a lot of people that would like to start businesses in AI, and I think fine-tuning this very excellent set of tools to our local market, you know, language, culture, I think it has a very big potential. All the most advanced tools that I mentioned, they don't have Armenian versions. They are developing other languages, but I think Armenia, given its market size, should be one of the last languages they will be developing. So this is a very good opportunity for investment.
But if I'm not mistaken, Mesrop Mashtots used AI to create the alphabet. Am I right?
No, he first used, he used AI already for Georgian alphabet, but it was
the
very
Georgian
early days, that's why it's kind of messy.
But also AI learns pretty fast, so ChatGPT last 2-3 months has improved immensely in terms of AI. We even sometimes use our Armenian texts for feedback, and I think the more we funnel Armenian texts into ChatGPT, the better it will get. But from 6 months ago and now, there's dramatic difference. We use it even for Armenian content already
especially
today.
with the emergence of Omni, because the greatest upgrade of Omni was the non-English text, including Armenian, so we are the beneficiaries.
So I want to get to this point, though, about the teachers, because we can skip the teachers and go directly to the students. Already TUMO is after school, so it doesn't involve the schools, but we need a program to integrate the teachers into this initiative to make sure they are advancing as the education advances. Who here is doing that?
We are.
Go ahead.
So 2 things we're doing. We do have a lot of teacher training involved, both in terms of content, pedagogy, etc. But we are also starting to do the trainings on AI literacy beyond that, because the teacher gap won't be closed in any country, including Armenia, which is comparatively small and has smaller problems in terms of quantity of teachers. We integrate co-pilots. So, for example, we have a platform that through which we do the Python education, and it has the co-pilot integrated, so if the student has a question and cannot do it or something is not working, he or she can ask the co-pilot, which really helps the process. But very important thing with the technology and all the dystopian projections that the world is trying to do, like with any new thing, the teacher's role cannot be eliminated. It just has to be rethought and repurposed. It is extremely important for the kids up until at least 15, 16 to have an interaction with a good mentor, with a good facilitator, and that is the teacher in the school. The question is, how do we make sure that the technology, first of all, individualizes the learning, second, decreases the burden on the teachers for administration, for lesson plan creation, because the teachers want to do it, they just don't have the time to do it. And then the third, how do you combine their facilitators' role with all the existing materials? Obviously, language barrier is a problem in Armenia. More kids, more teachers have to learn English. Kids don't know English as well. We work in Marses, Sarkis works in Marses, most kids don't know English. So this is also a problem. But with ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, many actually also can be operated in Armenian as well. I think it's very important to rethink just how the school system works, what the role of education is, and it is not just dumping information or forcing to be disciplined. That is definitely not the role of the education. And how do we help Armenia as a small country which has a culture for education to be one of those that is at the forefront of transforming education and not just bringing in the existing solutions, because we have that capacity as a country and as a nation.
So Armenia is a small country, but it has a big influence. How many TUMO centers are there outside Armenia?
Lots. We have over 25.
Speak a little louder, please.
We have over 25,000 students attend TUMO weekly. This year we are opening new centers in Japan, also recently in Lisbon, and next year we'll be opening in LA. So we are really accelerating the number of centers that we are opening. It's very exciting for us.
So you create a model for how this can be transferred outside of Armenia, small country, but big influence.
Absolutely. The technology that we develop here in Armenia can start to be used all around the world.
Please don't allow other countries to become more advanced than Armenia. Now,
actually, we do that, Perj. I have to disappoint you.
Oh.
So we are exporting Armat too.
Oh.
But the core of Armat is open source and do it yourself. And we follow principles that when we go to a country, we help them to set up their own Armats. So we are helping developing countries to we are transferring the know-how that we made these 10 years with Armat, with the scale, especially how to turn any excited person a STEM coach. So it's open source, and we encourage countries to use that, but easier said than done. So we sell the services to help them to set up their own, not to export from Armenia.
Birch, I'm going to also interject here. I think it's great for countries to get better than Armenia, because to export, because then that makes brand Armenia awesome. So I'm not Armenian, if you haven't figured.
Thanks for the support.
Yeah, I'm not Armenian. I come here a lot. But the thing that I come here a lot, and the thing that I notice over and over is there's a really ton of smart people here. They, love education. There's a tradition of education, but there's a huge diaspora, right? There's more Armenians living outside Armenia than there are in Armenia. So in my head, it's always, what is Armenia's competitive advantage? And the reason I'm learning from this panel, but it seems like, stuff like education about AI is something that you guys think about more than I think a lot of places. And so, hell yeah, export that methodology. I'm not saying give out all the secrets, but export that methodology, export that framework, and therefore that makes you ignite the diaspora. The diaspora also wants to help out. What I'm also shocked is there's a diaspora everywhere. I just met Armin's brother-in-law, who spent 7 years in Beijing, right, in China. So, it can help expand that educational AI education framework to even places like China, the US. It's this bridge all across the world. I find that quite interesting, that something that Armenia can do because of the ability to understand multiple cultures, because it's historically been in the middle of it all.
Well, you know, they asked Tumo Center to go to China, but they said, can you create 2.3 million centers? Is that possible?
There's enough money, right?
Exactly, why not?
And time.
Okay. If you don't mind, guys, I'm going to find out if anybody created some questions from the audience. Ah, look at those hands going up. See? Let's start here.
Thanks so much. This was amazing to listen how the AI and advancement of technology supporting Armenia, especially with education. But also there is importance of ethics and value system. And I wonder, and I would like to hear from each speaker, what is the place of ethics and responsible usage of AI within your projects? And if there is no, what are your thoughts? How you are going to integrate those important aspects to also raise the generation that will be responsible not only for the usage of AI, but also their accountability for the government.
So in fact, my view on AI is not just within ethics, but having an ethical framework around AI to not just plan the future, but also to differentiate Armenian AI. So how do we put ethics at the center of what you're doing? Yes, please.
Yeah, I will jump in. This is really an important aspect of AI usage, because the more the technology develops, the more need is created for being attentive in the ethics and all the surrounding issues. But I would like to say that there is an importance to clearly identify what ethics means, because sometimes we have a misconception, bias regarding the ethics. In our programs, for example, we have a separate session that is delivered about the ethical AI, ethical usage of AI. But I want to remind you that in 17th and 18th, when calculators emerged, lots of schools in the United States, in Japan, in Europe, they banned the usage of calculators because this was not ethical from the students, the children's development process, and also in the sense that sometimes they would be cheating with calculators, and this was a very wide-spoken agenda during those times. And then later on, after a couple of years, they realized that yes, the ethical usage of calculators and in general the usage of calculators could be banned, but it depends when. For example, if it's about the development of arithmetical skills of students, then yes, it should be banned, because you cannot use a calculator and develop a mental arithmetical skills. But then when it is important, when the usage comes for the application in a complex physics problem solution, then yes, it could be applied. So I think that right in the moment, we are talking about the ethical aspects without clearly identifying what the ethics field is and what is the red line where you cross that ethics. But of course, the more we move forward, the more necessity would be for that, and this creates so much troubles. Like one of our colleagues, there's a TV presenter, journalist, has her own deepfake that is using AI, and she cannot do anything against it because the legal processes are not on the place to cover this issue. I mean, yes, we need to do this, we need to tackle this issue, but first to understand what it is.
Apparently we're out of time. I knew that would happen, so that's why I made sure all of you thought of questions. We're going to come back tomorrow and continue this discussion. Is that all right? How many of you can come? All right. Perfect, perfect. So instead of you asking a question, we're going to ask you a question, okay? Which of these speakers seems to have captured what is needed right now to achieve right this minute, that we need to prioritize it, we need to make it? Should it be toward business school students? Should it be toward younger people, high school people? What should be the priority? Or should it be to make teachers more effective and more efficient, to use AI to make teachers more effective?
I need to also know?
Of course.
First of all, why me? Okay, so maybe I would add something to all the discussion because answer the question. It all was, I don't know, great discussion, all the topics, but maybe something was missing here. And teachers, you said, we have here like school education, ARMAT. We have after school 2 more. We have entrepreneurs with all their technologies that they are using AI. But universities are missing here. And maybe we need to focus there now. And maybe all our panelists, if they're here tomorrow, can answer these questions. Like maybe we need to do something with universities because after the school, kids will have nowhere to go. And maybe this is the topic we need also to concentrate a bit.
I can cover that topic during the coffee break.
Yeah, but they will, just to re-encourage you, because Generation AI we are doing is also involving university levels, so we're developing the next phases for formal education as well.
Terrific. Okay, listen, thank you for coming. I know you had to travel a long distance and climb how many steps before you came here? Right? Every time you have to go up and down the steps, usually I fall down. So thank you for coming, and thank our panel for being so helpful.